It's been a while since I put a deck to paper, but yo, I've been having a blast with Appliancers, and I'm like, you know what? Everything is fairly cheap, so I'm like, let me pick it up in person. It's a really fun and explosive deck, and it has so much OTK potential. And if you guys haven't checked out one of my more recent videos, which was the Worst of series, it's a brand new series that I'm doing where I cover probably the worst either archetype or the worst card of a set and try to make it somewhat playable. And just so happens to be, Appliances were one of the worst things that came out of Battles of Legend. So yeah, I did my best to try to make the deck as competitively viable as possible, and you know what? It honestly turned out pretty good. If you guys haven't checked out that video yet, I think you definitely should, because there are a couple of players, or one specific player, that I just completely demolished with this deck. And yo, I felt so gassed after. I'm like, I can do all this with Appliancers? Like, yo, you can pick up the entire core for under 10 bucks. So I made some minor changes since that video. Rise of the Duelist did come out, and we did get a brand new powerful card that you can utilize going second. The card is a little bit pricey, so if you are a budget player, there are budget alternatives, and although they're not going to be as good, you can still play this deck for fairly cheap, so don't even sweat it. Now, I do want to remind you guys, I think this is probably the last video I'm going to do before my giveaway, but yeah, I do have an ongoing giveaway for the 2020 Megaton, and this is probably going to be your last chance to enter. So all you have to do to enter the giveaway is go to my 1,000 subscriber special, and you have to like, comment, and subscribe to the video. And the only important thing you have to note is that your subscription has to be public. And then on the 28th of August, I'll be randomly selecting one winner and contacting them so I can send out the 2020 Megaton. The 2020 Megaton has a lot of great stuff. We're getting Savage reprinted, we're getting Appaloosa reprinted, and we're getting the introduction of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Dragoon is gonna absolutely change the meta. So guys, it's a free giveaway. There's no reason not to enter. You never know, you might win a 2020 Megaton, and maybe you'll pull a Savage, Appaloosa, or a Dragoon. Like, who knows? I also just wanted to give a quick shout out to both Jung and Ponchik for lending me a couple of cards to make this deck profile possible. For some reason, I just couldn't find them anywhere online or in my local area. So yeah, thanks Jung and Ponchik for making this video possible. Alright guys, without further ado, let's get into the best Appliancer deck profile that you will find anywhere on YouTube. Not like there's very many of them to begin with. Alright guys, so this is my updated Appliancer deck profile for post Rise of the Duelist. Rise of the Duelist gave this deck a huge helping hand with the release of a new card. Although it's pretty expensive, there are options for you to replace it, and I'll go into that later. Also, please stay tuned to the end of the video where I show you the combo that I've been using to absolutely decimate meta decks with this deck. So, okay, let's get right into it. First off, we have 3 copies of Appliancer Sakura, and without a doubt, this is your best card in the deck in terms of Appliancer monsters. So he can special summon himself if you control another Appliancer monster, and if an Appliancer Sakura is special summoned while this card is on the field, then you can special summon another copy of it from your deck. Now, this is where the next card in this deck comes into play. So we have 3 copies of Appliancer Copy Bako. So what this card does is, it's an effect in your hand where you can target one Appliancer monster on your field, copy its name, and special summon this card. Now, since Sakura checks on resolution, when this card is special summoned, it's an Appliancer Sakura on the field, meaning you can special summon another copy of Sakura from your deck to your field. Now, you can probably see why it's easy to link climb with this deck. So, for our next card, we are playing 3 copies of Appliancer Breaker Banco. So, unfortunately, this is probably the worst monster in your deck, considering the card doesn't really do as much for you as the other 2 do, but spoilers, he is a machine dupe target, and he's also an Appliancer name, so you kind of have to play him in the deck. So next, guys, this is a blind going second deck. So in order to maximize the potential of this deck, I decided to play the Mech Knight engine. So that consists of 3 purple Nightfall, 2 copies of Blue Sky, 1 Indigo Eclipse, and 1 copy of Red Moon. Now, the reason the Mech Knight engine is so good in this deck, because not only do they act as extenders, since they special summon themselves, they're also great for getting over negates and baiting out possible negates that your opponent may have, so that way you can combo off with your Appliancer cards without any worries. Next, for our hand trap, we are only playing 1 monster hand trap in the main deck, which is 3 copies of Ash Blossom. This card is just generically very good, and you can never go wrong with playing Ash. Then we have one copy of Codebreaker 0 Day, and some of you might look at this card and you're just like, what is this card? And this card is actually a crucial part of the combo, and don't worry, it's not even a brick if you draw it, and I'll show you why in the combo tutorial later on. Next, again, emphasizing this is a blind going second deck, so we are playing one copy of Pankratops because this card is just amazing. You can get so much value out of Pankratops going second. And for one of our win conditions, which you will see right now, we unfortunately do have to play these two bricks, which is Rainbow Dark Dragon and Elemental Hero Neos. Now, you could play the normal Rainbow Dragon. I don't really have it, and also doesn't matter because you can use either one. So yeah, I decided to go with Rainbow Dark Dragon. Next, for these spells, we are playing 3 copies of Appliancer Electrolyrical World. Wow, I didn't butcher that name, amazing. And we're actually playing a 4th copy of it because we are also running Terraforming. Now, this field spell is absolutely crucial for you to do your full combo, and this field spell is insane because it searches you any Appliancer card, not even just an Appliancer monster. You can search any Appliancer spell or trap. Now, this deck doesn't really have traps, but in case they ever do in the future, you'll be able to search it with that. So, we are also playing 3 copies of Machine Duplication. Since all of your Appliancer monsters are machines with less than 500 attack, Machine Dupe is just amazing in this deck. And next, for our new tech, out of Rise of Duelists, we are playing 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Now, for a going second deck, this card is just amazing. You can utilize it in so many ways. If you have all of your extenders, you can look at your opponent's hand and rip whatever problematic card you want. If you perhaps want to take something off of your opponent's board, you can do that as well. Or if you want to hope to draw into your extenders in case your play gets interrupted, you can do that as well. This card is just so powerful in a going second deck. Now, I understand some people are kind of iffy on this card, but in a going second deck, I highly recommend you play this card. Now, the price point on this is pretty hefty right now, and I don't blame some of you since Appliancers can be looked at as a budget deck. So if you didn't want to play this card, a card you can consider playing is Where Art Thou. Although Where Art Thou is nowhere near as good as Triple Tactics Talent, it's actually another pretty good tech that you can play in Appliancers. Next, we are playing 1 copy of 1-for-1, and is it just me? It's something about the old school faded rares that look so good. I hate the new school rares, and I'm kind of happy they got rid of them, but the old school faded ones look really nice to me. But yeah, all of your Appliancer monsters, they are level 1s, so this is fantastic to get rid of maybe a brick in your hand or a Mech Knight that you searched off of Blue Sky. Just, there's so many ways that you can utilize this card, and it's amazing. We are playing 1 copy of Mind Control. Mind Control is a really powerful card. There is a reason this card is at 1. Next, we have to play 1 copy of Neos Fusion, and thankfully this card isn't a brick. Sometimes you don't even have to go into your Verte Anaconda in order for this to resolve, because if you have this in your hand, you can combo off, and instead of going into a Verte, maybe you can go into something like an Appaloosa. Next, for our final spell, we're playing 1 copy of Upstart Goblin. Now, this card is great because we, 1, want to use it to increase consistency of this deck, and 2, it's also really good to use as a Mech Knight column. So you can set this card, special summon your Mech Knight, and then you can activate Upstart after. For the final card in this deck, we are playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence because this is probably the best hand trap of the format. Alright, so let's move on to the extra deck. Alright, so let's start off with the Appliancer Link monsters. So first off, we have 1 copy of Appliancer Dryer Drake, 1 copy of Appliancer Kappa Scale, 1 copy of Laundry Dragon, and 1 copy of Vacuum Elephant. Now, the one that's probably going to come up for you the most is Vacuum Elephant because he's a great source of generic removal. Now, you have to be careful because his effect does vary depending on whether he's co-linked or not. Also, the other thing to know about these guys, the link ones are kind of problematic in the sense that you can't use them as link material on the same turn that they are summoned. So please take note of that before you go into any of these guys, since if you do go into them while you do have full combo, you'll essentially lock yourself out of your combo. Next, we are playing 2 copies of Celtopus because this is the most important Appliancer Link monster for your combo, and we'll get into that later in the combo tutorial. Next, we're playing 1 copy of Virus Swordsman and 1 copy of Virus Berserker. Also, extremely important pieces for your combo and the reason you're able to link climb and swing for lethal. We're playing 1 copy of Verte Anaconda. Since Rainbow Neos is a huge win condition for this deck, this card is absolutely essential to play. Next, we have one copy of Nightmare Phoenix and one copy of Nightmare Unicorn. Now, these two cards are just really good generic cards. You can slap them into any deck and you probably won't ever have a problem with playing them. Phoenix is good to get rid of back row, and Unicorn is really good to spin any problematic card. Next, we have one copy of Appaloosa, one copy of Borosword, and one copy of Axis Code Talker. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, this looks a little bit pricey, and you're not wrong, but with the 2020 Megatins coming out, Appaloosa is getting a reprint, and hint hint, if you haven't already entered my giveaway, you can possibly win a 2020 Megatin. Now, link to that will be in the description below if you wanted more details on how to enter. Also, Borosword, he's gotten reprints. He's on the cheaper side out of these three for sure. And with Axis Code Talker, not really necessary to play in the deck. I just have him, so I threw him in here. You can play him. You can make him pretty easily. And he's kind of good utility, just pop stuff and run stuff over. And for the final card in the extra deck, we are playing one copy of Rainbow Neos. This card is just so strong. He can deal with back row, he can deal with monsters on the field, and he can deal with an annoying graveyard, perhaps maybe if Orcus ever comes back into the meta. Also, not only that, Neos Fusion is literally built-in protection for this card. Like, dude, this card is just so strong, and good luck to anyone beating over a 4500 attack monster. But yeah, guys, that wraps it up for the deck profile, and let's just get right into the combo tutorial, and let me show you how to win games with this deck. Before I show off the Appliancer combo, I've got to give a quick shout out to Schmal for being the first and only person to feed the bear, aka join my Patreon. I can safely say their $5 contribution was enough to buy the entire Appliancer core. If anybody else wants to support the channel, you can do so for as little as $1 a month, and it'll help go towards deck profiles like this one. You'll get a video shout out on every video going forward and a special title in my Discord. Anywho, that's enough selling out for this video. Let's dive into the combo. Alright guys, welcome to the combo tutorial, and let me show you how to beat the meta using Appliancers. So, the most important piece of this combo is the field spell Appliancer Electro Lyrical World. What this card does is it searches you any Appliancer card in your deck. So, if you open up Electro Lyrical World alongside either Socket Roll or Copy Buckle, you have full combo. It doesn't matter which one of these two you open, because either way, you'll just search the other one with the field spell. So, for example's sake, let's say we open up with a copy of Socket Roll. So, this is your hand right now, just these two cards. We're going to be activating Electro Lyrical World, and we're going to be searching ourselves a copy of Copy Buckle from our deck. Next, we're going to normal summon the Socket Roll. Zone placement doesn't really matter at this point, but next we'll be using Copy Buckle's effect to copy the name of Socket Roll and special summon him from our hand. Now, as I went over earlier, Socket Roll has an effect where if a Socket Roll is special summoned to the field, you can special summon another Socket Roll from your deck. And now, since at this point Copy Buckle's name is Socket Roll, you can do just that. So, we're going to grab ourselves another copy of Socket Roll and special summon it to the field. Next, we're going to be linking these two off, and honestly, it doesn't matter which one you link off. Either way, one of the materials will be a Socket Roll, but from here on out, you're going to be going into a copy of Celtopus. So, next, Celtopus doesn't really do anything here, but the important thing to know is the two link arrows, and that's the crucial part of this combo. Next, since we did link off into an Appliancer Link monster using an Appliancer monster as material, we can use Electro Lyrical World to add back one of the materials that we used. So, we're going to be adding back a copy of Socket Roll. Now, Socket Roll has an effect where if you control an Appliancer monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And the great thing is, this is not even an activated effect. So, we're going to be special summoning Socket Roll, and we're going to be using these two as material again. But this time, we're going to be going into a copy of Virus Swordsman. Now, the Codebreaker package is just fantastic, and not only is it fantastic in this deck, it's hella cheap. All the cards are commons, you can get this for under $1. So, when Virus Swordsman is special summoned, you can special summon a Codebreaker from your deck. So, we're going to be special summoning 0 Day from our deck onto our field. And from here on out, we're going to be going into the Link 3 Codebreaker monster. Now, they only have 3 monsters. They have the main deck monster, they have Virus Swordsman, and they have the Link 3 that we are going into right now. So, the important thing I want to notice is I mentioned this card is not a brick. You're probably wondering, well, what if I draw this card? It doesn't matter. Swordsman can special summon him from your deck, from your hand, or from your graveyard. So, next, Virus Berserker's effect activates. You can special summon Codebreaker monsters
to any zone link monsters point to. Now, if we look at Celtopus, there's an open zone right here. And if we look at Virus Berserker, there's an open zone right here. So, we're going to be taking back the 0 Day and the Virus Swordsman, and we're going to special summon them. Like, look at all this link material that we have with absolutely no restrictions. So, the next step of the combo that I like to go into is I like to go into the Verte Anaconda. So, we're going to be linking off the Celtopus and the 0 Day, and we're going to be going into Verte. Next, we're going to be activating Verte's effect, and be careful, in case there's anything else you want to do before this, you are going to be locked out of summoning for the rest of the turn. So, we're going to be using Verte's effect, pay 2,000 life, send the Neos Fusionist cost, opponent has no response, resolves, so we end up sending the Rainbow Dark Dragon and the Elemental Hero Neos, and we're going to be summoning ourselves a copy of Rainbow Neos. Now, with this, if you wanted to, you can send the Verte Anaconda from the field and wipe your opponent's whole board of monsters. If you wanted to, you can mill a card from the top of your deck and shuffle your opponent's entire graveyard back into your deck, or you can send your copy of the field spell from the field to the graveyard and get rid of your opponent's entire back row. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm pretty sure everybody is tired of Halki 5-Rax combos at this point, so I'm really hoping this was something new and refreshing for you guys to watch. That's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Bear, signing off. Peace, guys.